What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the show. We've got a great show planned for you today with some Premier League fans and influencers from all teams. Big up the panel. Matty, great to see you, bro. It's been a while, man. It's been too long, actually, Matt. How are you, bro?
Yeah, all good, bro. Yeah, all good. Nice to see you. Nice to see the rest of you boys as well.
Nice one, Matt. Nice one. Dave, Luton Dave, what you saying, bro?
I'm having the time of my life, aren't I? You know, so I'm enjoying every moment of us being in this league, and I say that every week when I'm on. So, yeah, I'm still enjoying it, still having fun. Great to be on tonight.
Nice one, man. Nice one. D's back, Crystal Palace, after your rant with Lawless the other night that pretty much went viral, bro. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm relaxed right now. But one thing is West Ham, they might be invincible of the Conference League, but they definitely ain't of the Europa League. I can tell you that. They won't be invincible this year. But yeah.
Mate, that rant is just hilarious. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's just literally the Lawless going at it, man. Proper at each other's throats. It was class. Well worth a
I've been
watch,
quite
bro.
all season long though, Pots. Like pretty much, well, to my normally, like you see me last season, like I was going throughout this. I started the season pretty quiet, humble, but there comes a point where you just have to, who do we sport? Like it comes into play. Like the way you start talking, I just had enough. But it is what it is. I love Lawless, of course, but he's just making more people dislike West Ham. I'm trying to make him stop. But he's deluded as it is, man. What can I say?
Love that, man. Listen, straight from the football terraces, Don, debut on the channel, bro. What you saying? You good, bro?
Yeah, man. Dan, love for having me on. Big up the panel, man, and big up the chat. So yeah, it should be a good show. Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, so am I, man. Listen, I'm going to throw it to you first, man. Let you have the mic on Chelsea because you've gone 4 games now without losing. A lot of people are talking about whether Chelsea can be back in the mix. And I believe what they mean by that is going for Europe. But I wanted to ask you, like, what your expectations are now that you've seen Chelsea on a little bit of a better run because it weren't the best of starts, Don.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, for me, I've been consistent in my take with Chelsea from pre-season. Pre-season gave us a good indication of what potentially could come. Because a lot of the new players that we brought in, they definitely were able to play how Poch wants them to play in terms of retaining the ball, the various patterns that I was seeing all over the pitch, and actually predicted that would finish third at the beginning of the season. I was called deluded. I flipped us round with Liverpool because Liverpool's firing power was a bit mad. But I did say that I think we'll finish in the top 4 because we've got a lot of quality in this team. A lot of rivals would beat me down and say you lot haven't got experience, but I agreed with that. But one thing I did say is that the young players we've brought in, they have a lot of quality. You know what I'm saying? As much as they've got the potential, they've got the quality right now. And you're seeing it right now with players like Cole Palmer. No one's talking about his age. He's 21. No one's mentioned his age once because you can see how good he is. You know what I'm saying? So I think you don't have to be this tantalizing team to get in the top 4 because every single season we always speak about how one team's trying to give it to the other team and another team's trying to give it to another team. Do you know what I'm saying? I think you have to be at your best to win the league, but to actually get in that top 4 or even top 5 this season, I think we definitely have the squad to do it and the players to do it, and especially the manager as well. We've got a good coach. We just went, a season where we had Frank Lampard and Graham Potter. Do you know what I'm saying? So we've definitely got a big upgrade on the manager that we've got right now. So, at the start of the season, Pochettino was doing amateur things, playing Ben Chilwell at left wing, only starting 2 attackers, playing Gallagher in a pivot, which doesn't work, playing Enzo in a 10, playing again 3 centre-backs majority of the season, which wasn't, helping our fluidity. But since he's made that tweak in midfield now, playing Gallagher a bit further up, Enzo in that pivot, and bringing that link between the midfield and the attack in Cole Palmer, we've been creating a lot of better chances now. Do you know what I'm saying? Cole Palmer's got 3 assists already in the starts that he's had. I think he's had 5 starts and 3 assists. He scored 2 goals as well. They've been penalties, but they were well-taken penalties. So the personnel that have started to come in now have actually allowed us to have more attacking intent because we weren't scoring before. Do you know what I'm saying? We're struggling to score. And now, like I said, Pochettino has reverted back to basics in playing more people in their natural position, which has helped us perform a little bit better. So I wasn't surprised by that performance against Arsenal. I predicted that we'd actually beat Arsenal 2-1. And again, I was being shut down by it. But I've watched a lot of Arsenal this year. Haven't been convinced by your performances. Your best performance came up against a Bournemouth side that everyone here should be battering. Even against Palace, I think that was probably Rice's game when he started to pick it up a little bit. But overall, you haven't been that great. And in comparison to how we've been playing, even though we haven't been getting the results, our performances haven't been that bad. So I didn't understand where the arrogance was coming from Arsenal fans to say they're going to batter us. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think it's good from here. We haven't even got our strongest lineup on paper right now. Still got players like Nkuku to come in, got players like Badiashile to come back, guys like Lavia to come back, even Reece James to come back. So yeah, we can definitely build from this, man. I think we're definitely going to pick up more results than what people think in the next run of games we've got, because we've got Blackburn coming up, we've got Brentford, Spurs, Man City, Newcastle, and Brighton. I do think that we're going to probably win more games than what people think. In all honesty, so yeah, I'm silently optimistic, man. I need to see these results for me to say Chelsea have actually turned the corner, but it's looking good, definitely.
Yeah, man. Listen, D, I'll come to you next on Chelsea, because I said that Chelsea would lack firepower because Nicholas Jackson I didn't know much about, and obviously Broja, I like him, but he just seems to be injured all the time. So I didn't think that Chelsea would be able to do much without that firepower. I actually liked their midfield, and I think when it's fit, Caicedo, Lavia, Enzo, Conor Gallagher's been playing really, really well. I think Cole Palmer has looked a really good signing, man. Like, I've been really, really impressed by him. In terms of his age, I think he's shown a lot of maturity in some of his performances of late, and I thought the penalty against us was just ice cold, considering that Sterling, I think, wanted to take it, and I think Enzo sort of said, "No, man, like it's on Cole." So I've been really impressed with him, and I think that could maybe change my mind. But where are you at, D, with this Chelsea side? What do you think they can do this season?
I said it at the start. I don't know if you remember, Potts, but we had this debate about where Chelsea should be finishing, and I said that with the money that they've spent, I get it. Normally it takes a while for a team to come together, and you might take it like a season or two. But Chelsea should be having expectation because they have spent crazy amount of money since the new ownership has come into play. So for me, I think Chelsea this season should be aiming for at least 5th or 4th. Anything below that would be, I get it, with the way that they started the season, you might say, oh, it wouldn't be that bad. But I think with the players that they've got some solid players there, maybe some unproven players in terms of Premier League experience, but they've got quality players that have room for potential to grow as the season goes on. And they've got an experienced manager under Poch as well. They've still got some players that's out. But overall, I think these next run of games will suit Chelsea in a way as well, because there'll be sides that will be trying to press them, attack them, and there'll be more spaces in behind. And I think that favors Chelsea as well. At times, maybe they have struggled in a few games against sides that would sit a bit deeper. But when the attackers come back as well, such as Nkunku, I think they will just naturally. They look. We haven't even played 10 games yet. We haven't, and it's early to say, oh, Chelsea they're finished, or Arsenal won the league, or City's done this and that. It's still too early. You have to at least wait till 10 games. And Chelsea, you're seeing improvements. I'll be honest. The Arsenal game was a massive shock for me, because with Chelsea so far this season, the thing is they've created chances, they haven't been able to take the chances. And the way that Arsenal played against
they've been poor chances overall though, D. They've been poor chances, bro. A lot of scrappy chances at the beginning.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. And I thought Arsenal might be able to handle that. So it's a case of Chelsea, when they do have them chances, I thought Arsenal would be much better defensively. What would they be able to do? And you know what impressed me the most? Not even the 2 goals. I think defensively, up until there was that mistake by the goalie, I thought Chelsea just had Arsenal on ropes. Like, I never, ever expected that. Maybe Chelsea could have won the game, but the fact that Arsenal was struggling to have a shot on target with a lot of key first-team players starting in that game against the Chelsea side that a lot of people have doubted so far this season, I was shocked. And I'll be honest, if I was a Chelsea fan, of course, at the heel at the moment, you'll be upset. But we're looking at the performance overall, and if you take away the last 15 or 20 minutes of the game, that was a very encouraging performance against a side that everyone's saying that should be competing for the title. So Chelsea will improve as the season goes on. I have no doubt about that. And there should be expectation on Chelsea this season as well, because of the money that they've spent, and they've got some quality players. So it's just a matter of let's see where they are now after like 15, 20 games. But yeah, they should be up there for at least European spots, 100%.
Just to add to that as well, D, like one thing that I've spoken about this season is defensively, bro, we look well drilled. Do you know what I'm saying? And that goes down to Pochettino showing everyone clear instructions of where they need to be on the pitch, the shape that they need to be off the ball as well. Because like you've said, that 75 minutes, bro, before Sanchez made that howler of a pass, Arsenal were not breaking us down. I was at the game, right? And I was watching our shape. They could not literally break us down, bro. Caicedo was sweeping up in that anchor. The ball couldn't get to Jesus. They boxed in Odegaard. You know, Zinchenko had to come off at half time. So everything literally worked. It was just a stupid individual mistake, which has been the theme of our season so far. Like these results against Forest, stupid mistake between Caicedo, Gallagher, and Silva. against West Ham. Silly individual mistakes for that game as well. If you guys remember, we got a penalty just before half time and then we missed that penalty, right? Carney came off injured. That ruined the whole fluidity of the game. So there's been a few games this year, bro, where defensively we've been good, but it's been a lapse of concentration or mentality or just a silly individual mistake, which has completely swung the game in a different direction. And that's why a lot of Arsenal fans were arrogant, because they were looking at the table rather than the performances. If you watched our games, we haven't been as bad as where we've been in the table. Like when I look at Man United right now, they're above us. I feel sick, bro. Like they've been rubbish this season, right? And we're below them. Do you know what I'm saying? I was saying a few weeks ago that they're in a worse position to us. Again, I was being shut down. But honestly, like, there's a lot for us to build from right now.
They are, though. I agree with you. I think Man United are, though. I think they're in a worse position.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They are. Yeah, I was saying that. And at the time, I had Terry and all the rest of the Man United fans saying, how can you say that and all of these things? But I said, look, I know you guys are going to talk about the record from last year, but let's be fair. That was a whole different team, right? 90% of that team's gone. They're not here anymore. It's a different Chelsea now. Do you know what I'm saying? I think people got too tied up in this Chelsea finished 12th. We're done. We're not going to come back sort of vibe. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you're right when you say that defensively we're good, because before we played Arsenal, we conceded one more goal than them, bro. So, yeah, defensively we've actually been all right this season.
Yeah.
Does it not annoy you a bit though, Don? That like you actually played well against us, we were crap, and you still didn't beat us. Does that not get to you a bit?
It does, bro. When Trossard scored that goal, I literally just did this in the ground. I literally just did that, bro. I looked at the guy next to me; he was speechless, right? Because it was a perfect performance. But again, these are little things that you can learn from. In a situation like that, Sanchez, next time, if you're 2-0 up, right, a dangerous scoreline, just go long. You ain't got to play it into the midfield and you know, ruin it like that. Because if you're up against a guy like Declan Rice, who's got quality, very good finish, by the way, things like that can always happen. So these are little tweaks that you can make, man. It's not like a big problem. Do you know what I'm saying? It's more of a mentality thing that you can drill into the guys to say, listen, sometimes don't take that risk. Just go long if you need to. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's something that you can just adapt, I guess, and learn from.
What you described just sounds like what you expect really from Chelsea, I guess. In terms of like new squad, you got lots of like new players, you got a new manager. You expect there to be hiccups along the way, especially in terms of players making mistakes. Everyone's still getting to know how to play with each other. There's going to be some rotations here and there, and I think this is all normal. This is all part of the process right now. Chelsea, I guess, halfway through the season, towards the end of the season, that's when we'll see the best out of Chelsea. Even right now, despite the things that you've been saying about how good that you've been playing, but there's been like a few hiccups here and there. I don't think that's your max potential as well. I think Chelsea have another level that they can go on to as the season goes on as well, which is encouraging it must be for you, because as a Chelsea fan, if you're seeing all these positives already, and I'll be honest, like the league table, you're not that far off as well. Like, cool. I think you're saying 11th right now or 10th. Is it?
We're 10th. I think we're 10th now.
But in terms of points, a few wins against some of the sides that are above you, which will be a massive test when you face Spurs. That'll be a very interesting game to watch, of course, because of Poch and all the other factors involved. Like, if you get wins here and there, then that gap is going to close down, and all of a sudden Chelsea are going to be a serious side. But now that, look, for Arsenal, I said this going into the game. Now that you beat City, you have to try and go and beat Chelsea if you want to be serious about winning the title. It's one of those. It could be one of those hiccups along the way, and it did happen. Now for Chelsea, you got momentum going even before the Arsenal game. Now when you face them, you know, classier sides that are more difficult. Now it's time for you lot to step up as well and show that, you know what, we are serious. Yes, we got unlucky to drop points against Arsenal, which sounds crazy because everyone is expecting Arsenal to win that game. Now it's on Chelsea now to, you know, carry this form on and show that they're serious.
I think this just nips that phase talk in the bud, Dan. Listen, I've never spoken to you about this before, but I feel like you're not someone that agrees with the phase forward, phase three type of thing. Because
you're talking to the right person, you know, man. Yeah,
exactly. So 4 months in, a team that's 4 months in like this should not be performing like the way we did against Arsenal, a team that's 4 years deep into their rebuild. So that just bats that whole phase thing out of the way. That's just a way of trying to run away from expectations.
That's excuses, bro. It's just excuses, bro. Yeah. That's all it is. It's excuses as to why we might still drop points, or why we might still be a young squad, or why we might still do this. Man, at the end of the day, we were embarrassingly bad, I thought, against Chelsea. I thought it was really poor, man. We were second best in every position. And if it weren't for Sanchez, you know, like people said, oh, Arteta made great subs and all that. For me, if Sanchez doesn't kick the ball to Rice, then we don't get anything from the game. So it ain't about subs and masterclass management as far as I'm concerned. It was an audition of 2 horrendous goalkeepers, and both of them were shocking. And we just move on and go from there, take the point and go. But I'm not happy. I'm not happy with it. That's my honest opinion. But Matty, let me come to you because you got Chelsea next, bro. You got them at the weekend, I believe.
Yes.
So
you're a Brentford fan, bro. Okay.
Yes.
talk to me about Brentford, bro. What's happening?
Mate, I was there last season at Stamford Bridge when we won 4-1. So I mean, I got high hopes. Chelsea played well that game as well. I think, we're talking about 10 games into a season, and Don, I agree with you, man. I think sometimes looking at the league table can be a bit of a red herring. And to your point as well about it, I think there's a lot of parallels between United and Chelsea. And I think that Chelsea have definitely progressed better over the last few years. Obviously, a lot spent on both squads, but I definitely think you're kind of more in control than United. But yeah, the game at the weekend. This season for Brentford, I think we were lucky last season, not in terms of results, but just had a good, strong squad. Obviously, still had Tony at that point in time as well. This season is definitely looking for 3 or 4 teams worse than us, rather than kind of trying to excel, which is fine, man. It happens. It's one of those things where we didn't buy particularly well in the transfer window, and it's probably the only time I've openly negatively talked about the club, in terms of everyone at the moment moans about injuries and lack of depth in squad. For me, that is contemporary modern day football. And if you don't work with that and you don't buy or nurture players to fill in those gaps, I don't think it's an excuse. I think every club has those problems, and I think you have to buy those players in or develop those players to fill those gaps if you're going to be in certain cup runs or have X amount of games per season. So we chased a couple of players that we didn't get. I think one of them said, I think it's the PSV player, that said like he wanted Champions League football. So I was kind of like, well, why the hell are we entertaining that for 4 months and then not getting him, kind of thing. So I think we're all right. I think we'll do okay this season, but I think it's going to be a humbling season for us. I'm still quite confident we might get a point at Stamford Bridge. I think Chelsea at the moment are just such a wild card team. I think they're starting to establish a bit of a DNA again, which is quite interesting to see. But you just don't know. If we come out and win 3-0, it wouldn't surprise me. If we get spanked 5-0, it wouldn't surprise me. So I kind of like going into those games, though. It makes the season a lot more interesting.
Yeah, man, I fancy Chelsea. I can't lie, but I don't think it'll be like a 4-0 or crazy result like that. I think they'll nick it, but I do think it'll be a hard-fought game. One thing you can't deny is that even though Brentford have got some problems with the Ivan Toney situation, you've had some injury problems as well. Thomas Frank is such a good manager, man, and I watched him on Monday Night Football, and I was really impressed with how.
Yeah.
I thought he was really good the way he come across, and I thought that he's just been. I think a manager that's perhaps gone under the radar a little bit, because there's been so many teams that have kind of produced like the Brightons and the Emerys and Villas and the Newcastles and Howes. I actually think what he's done at Brentford has been really kind of overlooked and overshadowed, in my opinion. I think he's been fantastic. And when Brentford went up, everybody kind of tipped them to go down. And it's like no one mentions them now in the bracket of relegation. And I think that's credit to Thomas Frank, Matt, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. And you know what? I hope he does just sit under the radar for a little while. I think everyone looks at Brentford as maybe like a step behind Brighton or whatever. And, look at what happened when Potter went to Chelsea. Like, I'd be interested in a parallel universe to see how Thomas Frank would get on in a big top 4 or top 6 team. Realistically, obviously, I don't want it to happen. I think he's nestled in the club. Obviously, we have like the Danish contingent as well, which a lot of that happens behind the scenes, and it's no coincidence we bring in a lot of Danish players. So that partnership with like Midtjylland as well is quite big for us. So I think he fits in. I think there's a lot of backroom staff there. I would be really intrigued to see how we would do at a Chelsea or an Arsenal. Not negatively, not kind of questioning his credentials, but just sometimes those things don't transcend and don't fit other clubs, or they don't fit the mold of a club or the style of football. So it'd be interesting to see. But ultimately, the guy has done amazingly well. And I've noticed more and more, to your point, Dan, a lot of people, when they're talking about relegation, like Brentford aren't even in that chat, which always surprises me. And I'm kind of, it's quite refreshing and quite great to hear. But, Dave as well, I've not in a rude or horrible way, but I had Luton tipped to go down straight at the beginning of the season. I've watched a few games and I've been absolutely overjoyed with the way you boys have been playing at the moment, and I really hope you do stay up this season as well, mate.
Oh, good, because I was going to mention the relegation battle. Then I'm going to take that away. Do you know what? I'm listening to what you're all saying, and I'm sitting here looking up. Really, Luton towards the bottom, and you look up and you think, "What are you lot moaning about?" It's 9 games in. I've seen Chelsea play live, they beat us 3-0, and I was fairly impressed. But when they took their chances, but I wasn't overly impressed. I've watched.
We weren't great that game. We really
No,
wasn't.
and that's the point. And I come away from Stamford Bridge getting done 3-0, thinking, you know what, we could have done better. But it's early doors. It's early doors. Bigger teams will always push on. That's what I look at it. You know, Chelsea are not going to be languishing in the bottom half of the table. They're just not. People like me at Luton, if we get out the bottom 5, I'll be pleased, you know. And no disrespect, Matt, but, you know, we've got to look at teams that are, in inverted commas, beatable, even though Brentford have had a fantastic seasons gone past, and they've had some fantastic results. And, you know, my lad used to work for Brentford, and we've got connections there. And, you know, they do model themselves on Brighton. It's been said by your chairman that that's where they want to be. They see themselves like that. Every season, someone's developing. So I'm hoping we can develop it just that tad a bit more to keep us safe. And you never know. You know, I've seen us play some decent football. I've seen us being unlucky against Tottenham, who was unlucky against West Ham. But you can't continue being unlucky, can you? You just need to convert those chances. And if we're not doing that, then we will be in that relegation battle. I think we're playing you in about December, aren't we? The beginning of December. Is it your place or our place? I can't remember.
I think it's our place first, but yeah.
So I'd be looking to, and I no disrespect to any team here, but I'd be looking to come to Brentford and have a go. Alice and have a go. I don't know how good we will be, but I'll be looking for that. So you're right. You know, we have played well and we've just been unlucky. And we've been absolutely, and vitriol, and I've said this every time I've come on, the vitriol towards us has been incredible, even though we're not bottom of the league, even though we're higher than the other 2 promoted teams, we are still getting it in the neck. And, you know, Luton are crap, the ground's crap, their attitude towards the Premier League even is crap. But, you know, like I said at the begining, I'm enjoying every second of it. And there's no reason why.
Reveling it, mate. Absolutely reveling it. I felt it when Brentford come up. And I even joked with Dan most of the time in chat saying we're a League One club at heart. But, like, here we are. Yeah. Deal with it.
I went to the Brentford-Bournemouth semi-final at the new ground.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That was an amazing experience for me, being a neutral. I didn't care who won, but cheered Brentford in at the end. And I went to the final, and I thought to myself that, you know, if my team could achieve what your team has achieved, I'd be happy. Now we're here. I want to achieve what your team can achieve. I can't say we could do the same as Palace or Chelsea or Arsenal. Of course we can't, because we can't use that money. But we can do what you guys have done, and we can do what Brighton have done, and that's how I look at it. And if, you know, that's our chance, isn't it? It's our chance to prove ourselves. And I think a lot of people have underestimated us this season.
Yeah, 100%. I spoke after the Chelsea game. I spoke to Reece Burke, because I grew up with him, right? I was just like, look, what's the level like? He was like, it's different, bro. Like, it's different, but he said, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, well, you see, at the weekend against Nottingham Forest, and, you know, Dan, you said you were disappointed with your last 10-minute revival against Chelsea. Well, I was in absolute heaven when we equalised in 90+2, and then had that little moment when they scored the offside goal. But Reece Burke, for me, my company actually sponsors his shirt, can you believe? But I thought sometimes he's a bit slow, but he's a very intelligent player. So when Elanga was giving him a bit of grief on the side, he just took a step back. So he might have got to the ball first. He might have got around him fairly quickly, but he was mostly stopped. You know, it's Reece Burke. They're just getting there. I've noticed every game we've played so far this season, we start really, like, I think, is it respect? Are we giving you guys too much respect? Possibly. But tactically wise, you know, we are a bit behind the times with the start. And then we just get into the game. And if we don't concede, then we play a bit better, and then we step it up. And that's how it's been.
I don't really know, like, and I said this to you before, Dave. Like, people have said to me, "Oh, Sheffield United, like, and Burnley, and it's like Luton," and everyone laughs, and it's like, "Oh, they're not going to be around." And I think, hang on a minute, like, they've been the best of the 3 that have come up. Like, why are we laughing at Luton?
Like,
They have.
No one mentioned Sheffield United. Like, I don't understand that. Like,
they managed to slip under the radar quite nicely.
I've been the side that's been terrible, like, so far this season. With Luton, Burnley haven't been that great either. But what this agenda talk, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because they're just newly promoted side, and
do you know what it is? It's the chances that they missed.
It's as well. I don't know what exactly it is, but Luton is always the focus. But I don't hear nothing about Sheffield United, for example.
Burnley as well, man.
Burnley, like they play this pretty football, but when it gets to the final third, they struggle to even create chances. Luton are creating chances, but they're missing them. Like, few of the games that I've caught, You guys are missing chances that you should be burying. Like, do you know what
honestly,
I mean?
if we had our shooting boots on against Tottenham, we'd have got at least a point. If we had our shooting boots on against West Ham, we would have scored 3. So that's how it's been going. But you at this level, you can't afford to miss those chances. I think the problem we have is that we're perceived to be a little club because of our little stadium, which is, it is small, but it's a great place to come, especially now. You have to walk through the gardens. The misconceptions from everybody is due to that stadium. They don't look at our team. They don't look at what we've done in the last 9 years and where we are and how stable the club is. They just go, "You're crap. You've not signed any players. We just dismiss you." And it's wrong to dismiss
order,
us.
Man.
It's
out of order, man. I don't get that. I don't get any of that.
The narrative has been set before the season started, and I think that's what it is. And it's still continuing now, but more people are actually looking at the table, looking at how teams are playing. And Luton, they're not that bad.
Bournemouth, Burnley, and Sheffield United. Yeah, those 3, Bournemouth, Burnley, and Sheffield United, they've been worse than Luton, 100%. Like, you look at Bournemouth, they've got this new manager in, and Gary O'Neill's killing it with Wolves. We're not killing it, but you get my point. A lot of people had Wolves going down and struggling, and like Bournemouth are like, wow, why did we get rid of this guy? We're struggling ourselves. Obviously, Sheffield United are the whipping boys right now, not Luton. And Burnley, I think company's getting a hell of a good time at the moment because no one's mentioning him. And I know he's done great things at Burnley and they flew up in the Championship, but maybe it's because it's Pep's guy, a little bit like Arteta. They just get away with murder. But for me, I don't really understand it because they've been poor. Like, they've not got any
battered them at the weekend as well. I mean, it was
a few teams that have battered them, Matt.
Yeah, but I was going into that game because normally, especially in the Championship days, we would struggle against Burnley as well. Just just a very physical team, and obviously they've changed their style of play and their DNA. And I was surprised how easily we walked over them. I was expecting us to maybe get a draw out of that game and absolutely demolish them. And
they're an easy team to beat.
I feel confident now that, like, when you look at teams, you go, on paper you should be beating X amount of teams. But when you play them for the first time this season, you go, we will finish above them, and I feel confident we'll be above them, which I was still shocked by. Maybe it's just legacy of getting battered by them in the Championship for X amount of years. But the tables turned on that one.
And when they turned up at our place, we didn't beat them, and it really annoyed me. Really?
Yeah. That was a frustrating game for you, man. 2-1, wasn't it? That was
2-1. Score a goal. 30 seconds later, they get the winner. It was horrendous. But I think we're learning. I think the team is developing, and I think we're going to give it a good shove and a good shout. And if it goes well, every time I look at the next 5 fixtures, I go, "Oh, bloody hell!" Villa, Liverpool, Man United.
Is there any plans, Dave, for like a January maybe to bring in like a striker maybe?
Not that we know of, not that we've heard anything of. I think we'd be silly not to look at something in January, see where we are, see what we got to do, and see what the chances are of us progressing and staying up. And do we need another striker? We probably need one that's got better boots than Elijah. But Elijah at the weekend, his goal was superb. Impact player. I mean, Townsend was come. We brought Townsend in on a free, which was weird, but he came in and he was an impact player on the weekend. Ross Barkley had a great game. So, do we need a striker? Probably, because if Elijah or Morris gets injured and Woodrow, we're sort of absent in that area. So I would be very surprised if the club don't look at that sort of thing and come the window. But if we're languishing at the bottom with no chance of really clawing it back, I think that the board will be very astute with their finances. I don't think they'll chase the dream if it's not gettable, if that makes sense. That's how I look at it. And I'm just thinking,
I think everyone will ultimately.
Sorry, Dad.
I think that's all right. I think everyone will maximise the transfer window. Matty, I know we've not got you for long, but I wanted to ask you a very quick couple of questions. One of them's come from the chat, regular listener and loyal fan, True Blue Clay. Big up, man. Thanks so much for this question. Says, Matt, how do you think Thomas Frank will set up the team for this game? He means Chelsea Brentford.
I reckon we'll probably only have 35 to 40% possession. I think we'll suck it up, hit on the break. I think we'll go 5-3-2 with the wing backs in. I just expect us to hit on the counter. And when we won 4-1 last season, although we had Tony in a bit of an outlet, it was very much that kind of swift break all the time. So I'd expect us to kind of sit in not too deep, but kind of keep that relatively mid to high line and just play on that counter attack. And I think they're there. I think we've done really well again from set pieces this year, which after we lost our set piece coach to, I think he went to you guys, Potts, actually a few years ago. We kind of went a bit flat on him, but suddenly kind of picked that up again. But yeah, I'd expect us not to have more than 35-40% of the ball, but just hit on a break every time.
Nice one, Matty. Give me a prediction for the weekend, bro.
I reckon it's got 1-1 written all over it. Yeah, I can see us getting a draw out of it, but would love a win, obviously. But yeah, I'll take that draw.
Don, what you saying?
I think, I'm going to say 2-1 Chelsea for this one. We have to win.
Yeah, that's what I'm going. I'm going 2-1 Chelsea. I think you'll nick it, man. I do. And Matt, very quickly, man, I've got to ask you why you're on here, bro. David Reyes getting it in the neck, man. He's been chosen ahead of Aaron Ramsdale, and I text you and I was like, what's this guy, man? What's this guy all about?
It's a no refund policy. I've said this to you time and time again. Hey, do you know what? He when we lost the playoffs in the Championship before we went up, we lost 2-0 to Fulham when it's still behind closed doors, and he had an absolute stinker.
I remember I watched it because we were linked with him that year, and I thought, I don't want him. He's in the Championship making a mistake.
I mean, it was a great free kick as well. Like, don't take anything away from it, but it was 40 yards out. He was organising the wall. I can't remember who it was. It was their left back, maybe Penny or someone. But yeah, basically, he hit it 40 yards. Raya was completely at fault. And he's very much, I know it's such a cliche in the modern game, but he's very much a form kind of keeper. And if he's rattled, like, it takes him a while to recover. But honestly, even the form he's going through now, I would take him back in a heartbeat. Like, his distribution, his shot stopping is amazing. At the moment, he's just evidently rattled. And you know that other, like, away teams are going to be told to put it on him, stick it on him the whole time. He's not the tallest goalkeeper in the world. His position on crosses isn't particularly great. Honestly, like, on his day, I think he's one of the best shot stoppers in the league. That's not good enough for a contemporary keeper. You need to be able to play it out. You need to be able to pick passes, command the defense. There's frailties in his game, but he's been one of the best, if not the best goalkeeper I've ever seen at Brentford. And we now are struggling without him as well. Like, Flecken's made mistakes every game.
He's not been great, Flecken, has he?
No. And like,
I remember against Newcastle, he had a shocker against Newcastle, I think it was.
Yeah. He's been at fault for a lot of guys. To be honest, we're seeing it a lot. And I don't know if it's a different strategy of press with a lot of teams as well. We've got a lot of keepers now. It's very fashionable to play the ball out from the back. But between myself, you, Dan, Don, all keepers have been making these mistakes. Like, we can try and isolate it to the ones in our team, but if we're going to start playing this football where you've got sweeper keepers coming out, those mistakes are costly. Like, when they're not, it's not like you're the last line you're the last line of defense. That's leading to a goal more times than not. So, like, I think a lot of it is the actual style of play in addition to the keeper's attributes as well.
Yeah, Matt, you make some good points. That's exactly why I didn't want Raya, because you guys know Kepa he's been poor at Chelsea, right? At best.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about new keepers and stuff, a few Chelsea fans would say, "Oh, Raya, look at his distribution." I said, for me, his short passing is very inconsistent. Again, he's quite short for a keeper like Kepa. I think he's 6'1". When it comes to long range as well, he's not great. Him and Kepa statistically were up there for letting in the most long range shots last season. So I was looking at it like, this is going to be Kepa part 2. I want someone more commanding. Obviously, I was skeptical of Sanchez because, again, he's another inconsistent one. But one thing about Sanchez, he commands his area because of his height. He's 6'4".
Yeah.
Long range, he gets onto the end of things. It's just that, again, he's very inconsistent with his distribution. So yeah, Dan, buckle up, man, because there's more to come from Raya. Like, this guy is just that's him. That's literally him. What you saw the other day with Mudryk, that's representation of Raya in goal, man.
Yeah, listen.
This was always going to be a problem, though, when you first joined. I mean,
it was.
People spoke about it. Number one. You have Ramsdale, you have Raya there. Like, it was always going to be an issue. And now
let me ask you though, D, because I'm with you, right? I'm with you. But I'll tell you what, let's quickly do this as a panel, very quickly. One name. Who would you play in goal right now if you're Mikel Arteta? Do you pick Raya or Ramsdale at the weekend? Matt, start with you. You're gonna go Raya, are you?
Me?
Matt, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Raya all day.
Okay. Dave?
I don't understand why they dropped Ramsdale, to be fair. So I go him.
Fair play. D.
Ramsdale? Yeah.
Okay. Don?
I would say Ramsdale for this one. I think, yeah, Raya's made a few mistakes. Ramsdale.
Pete?
I'd stick with Raya. I'd stick with him. I'd give him another opportunity. If he matches up again, then he's out.
that's the kind of sentiment I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about who do you think is the better goalkeeper. Like to Pete's point, I think if you've had Raya in for a few games, now if you drop him and put him on the bench, you basically just thrown into the lions. Like, you know, or you stick by him and then you kind of phase him out or do whatever. I think it would be almost career suicide for Arteta to bench him and like effectively admit that he's fucked up.
That's the thing for me. Arteta has messed this up, man, because for me, this is on Arteta now. This is a situation where he's put a lot of pressure on David Raya and also he's been cruel to Aaron Ramsdale. So this can't be good news for either of the players at the moment. And I was all for bringing in a keeper. I didn't care. Matt Turner wanted to go, had to bring a keeper in. He wanted David Raya a couple of years ago and he brought him in who's, in my opinion, much better than Turner and probably on par with Aaron Ramsdale. And some people say he's better in certain attributes, right? So for me, I was okay with it. But how he's dealt with it is poor. Because for me, you can't just dump him in against Everton and go to Ramsdale. You're at the bench. Okay, am I coming in the Champions League games? No. Am I coming in the Premier League games? No. You're going to play the Carabao Cup game against Brentford. It's like, this is a bit weird. It's all over the place. And then people every single game are guessing, who do you play? Who do you do? And then Sky Sports News don't know when they're zooming in. Every time Raya kicks a ball wrong, they zoom in on Ramsdale. What's he doing now? With Onana. Do you know what I mean? They don't zoom in on Jack Butland to see if he's going to get a game when Onana.
It's true.
It was
week.
always going to be a problem. Always from the start. Forget about both of them playing minutes. As soon as he joined, there's a question of, is Raya going to sit on the bench? Is Ramsdale going to start? And also, even if Raya has a good game, just psychologically, you know that if you mess up once or twice, in the back of your mind, there's Ramsdale there that's been, has been brilliant for Arsenal since he joined Arsenal. And I don't know. It's still, when you look at hindsight, two very good goalkeepers. You'd love to have that, but with goalies, I think depth works a bit differently. Ideally, you want your number one and your number two clear. I don't think Ramsdale's happy sitting on a bench. I don't think Raya would be happy sitting on a bench. So someone is going to be upset. It's different to having like two, right backs. You can have one clear starting right back. You can have right back that can back him up. But with goalies, you have to have a clear one or two. You can't just, I don't know. It's a position where there's a lot of pressure on them. And right now we're seeing it with Raya. Even against Chelsea, that goal that got conceded. After that, I thought, you know what? He has to bring Ramsdale into play because he's made, a few mistakes here and there. Not just the Chelsea game, but there's been games even when you won the game, he started the game very shaky, slow, in terms of.
No, even against us, like Cole Palmer, he literally passed it to Cole Palmer. Bro.
And he's had moments where he hasn't directly costed Arsenal, but it's made me, even as a neutral watching the game, feel like, what's going on here? He looks a bit shaky, like, go and press him. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just added pressure for no reason. And if I'm Ramsdale, I'm pissed off. I'm not happy because
Dan,
when does he get an opportunity now? It doesn't make sense. How many mistakes?
As an Arsenal fan, Dan, do you think Ramsdale gets sold then in the summer?
Only because he'll want to go, not because we want to sell him. But you can't keep two goalkeepers like that happy. This was never long term, by the way. People can say this is a good thing, a bad thing. This is never going to be the next 5 years. These two in goal, they're at that age where they both got to be playing. They're at an age, a level of development and the part of their career where they both got to be playing number one. For me, I think the best thing we can do, if this is going to continue with Raya, you just decide that this loan deal is not going to happen. He goes back to Brentford, and we bring in another goalkeeper in the summer, or you stick with Raya. Hope that it works and sell Ramsdale. There's one of those two options. For me, you're not going to get both of these players.
As long as Arteta's manager, I think Ray is going to stay and he'll be number one. I think that this is he's never going to come out and admit that either one of them is number one. But I think it's very, very clear the fact that Ray has come in and stayed in the team, and he's not even given Ramsdale cup games, Champions League. Not even giving him an alternative. If you've got two number ones, you'd be happy to switch them and give either one of them an opportunity in goal. So if Ray's had 2 games on the bounce, Champions League comes along, you give Ramsdale an opportunity. He's not even giving that opportunity. But it says to me, he doesn't see Ramsdale as a long-term goalkeeper at Arsenal. So if it's not January, it'll be the summer, it'll be out the door. As long as Arteta's still there, which I assume he will be, he's gone.
And the thing is, they're both at a similar level. They're both at a similar level. I don't look at Raya and go, oh, wow. I mean, Ramsdale's not getting in this side. He's nowhere near.
The Raya deal as well, though, is murky. Like the Raya deal, I like from understanding is that initially he was meant to go Spurs. Then he went to you guys. He's still on loan at the moment, right? He went for like 3 million. Brentford made him. I don't know how true it is, but Brentford made him sign like a 2-year extension on his contract before we went to Arsenal on loan.
That's right.
So he didn't go for free. So now you've got this weird kind of dynamic of like, well, technically he's on loan, but we paid money for him, but you will inevitably have to sign him, like properly sign him. So it's just weird. Like, the whole deal.
Well, listen,
and
it
then
could
it's
be
like,
coming
you
back
want
to you,
all of
man.
that
It's
on top of Ramsdale. Like, it's
Yeah.
It could be going back.
And it could be
And, well,
coming
we've
back. I mean, I
we've
don't think
already
he
bought
will.
the
I think
place,
we'll
so
sign
we
him.
know where he
I
goes.
think we'll sign him. And I think
Yeah,
what it
I think-
has done
yeah.
is it's made people look at Ramsdale differently now as well, because a lot of people in the last couple of years, he's crap still. We're just waiting for him to kick it out again like he did at Southampton. He's no good. I don't want him at my club. Now people are like, it's a bit harsh. Actually, maybe he's not as bad as Raya. Actually, I probably would have him at Chelsea or United right now. He's better than Onana and Sanchez. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that he needed that for a little bit of respect for Ramsdale, because I think he's been quality for 2 years, man. And so far, Raya ain't had a good audition in the first few games, man. I can't lie. But
For me, Dan, yeah, I'm all about being fair. Like for me, Ramsdale's good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take him at Chelsea. I think he's quite inconsistent as well. And his concentration over 90 minutes is something that I definitely look at, and I'm a bit skeptical about. Do you know what I'm saying? But the fact that Raya's made these mistakes, like I've said, yeah, it's all about competition, right? So you can't just keep making these mistakes and then a good keeper like Ramsdale just holds bench. Like you've got to give him an opportunity to do something, and maybe then that might increase his levels. And Arteta has a problem there to think, right, I know Raya's my guy, but Ramsdale's now upped his level. It's a healthy headache to have. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So
yeah, man.
Yeah, for me, it's a bit of a sticky one. But right now, I would start Ramsdale, man. Just
Also,
Raya's
it's a
been
bit
making
weird
some meaty
how
mistakes.
it's a bit weird how I would have thought if Raya's starting in the league, then maybe Ramsdale will have a bit more opportunities, especially in Europe, like the Champions League. But it seemed like Ray is starting every other game. It's like Ramsdale, he went through all of that with Arsenal. You was going through a massive struggle, then all of a sudden a top four was erased, and last season league title was erased. Now you're in the Champions League, and what? You can't have a sniff of Champions League football. I don't know. Of course, football is football,
So deep,
like,
innit?
business, but it just feels so harsh. Like
it's harsh. Like he's got us to the Champions League and he don't get to play in the competition. It's harsh, man. But listen, you know, Arteta could have done that. He could have said, right, Raya, you're my league, your league and Carabao Cup, and Ramsdale, your Champions League and FA Cup. I know there's lots of ways he could have done this, but I just don't like him, man. It just don't sit well with me. And along with Kai Havertz, this is both on Arteta for me, man. It's both on Arteta. But anyway, this ain't an Arsenal program. Pete, I've brought you on for a few minutes because I know you've got to do your show. Matty, I know you've got to go. So big up, bro. Thank you so much for joining, my friend. Always a pleasure,
Nice
mate.
one.
Big up, bro.
We'll
Good
catch
seeing
up
you,
soon, man.
See you next week.
Love
Take
it.
care. Nice one.
See you next week, bro. Love, man. Pete, I know you've not got long, man, but this Tonali thing needs discussing, bro, because Newcastle will depleted at the moment with injuries in certain cases. And at the moment, Tonali is now looking like he's definitely done for the season. Do you think AC Milan knew about this, bro? Real talk, £55 million, we're not sure of it, or is that all nonsense, do you think?
I think it's too hard to say. I don't think we'll ever know. That the easy answer to that is that we'll never know if that's the case. But look, we bought him. He's our player, and I think Newcastle fans have made it clear that we see a long-term future for Sandro Tonali. He's 23 years old. It looks like he's only missing 10 months. I'll take it. I'm not going to lie. I would have liked 7. I'll take 10. I didn't want 12. And it looks like that's going to be the case. And the great thing about it, he still gets to train with the team, which is something that Tony didn't get. And I think that's been part of the conversation, is that he still gets to train with the team. He's doing all the rehabilitation stuff around it, which is great. But I think it's been compounded by the injuries that we've picked up to certain players. We've got Joe Willett back, which is brilliant, and he came on and he looked sharper than I expected him to last night. So that's
You've missed his legs, haven't you? You've missed his legs, I think. Yeah.
Definitely. So in terms of the midfield, like he's an added addition. It's always like for like, but I think with some of the other additional injuries, it's kind of thrown out a bit of a worry after last night's game, because we have got a bit of an injury crisis at the moment.
Who's actually injured? Because go through the list, because you've got quite a few, bro. I was looking today.
Yeah,
they're trying to be like Palace.
Yeah.
Trying to be like us.
You know what?
What about injuries?
That's the problem with beating you guys last week. You passed on the virus, man.
We'll let you have the virus
that's going around. But
Josh Murphy didn't look good. Murphy looks like he's done something to his shoulder.
Like, we ain't seen him until 2024. Like it's already been confirmed after the game.
It's confirmed.
Yeah. Eddie Howe confirmed after the game. You could tell straight away he dislocated his shoulder, so you ain't seen him until at least January. and he's been a key squad player for us. So that's a big miss. We haven't got an alternative to Miggy on that right now. But we've got so Murphy's going to be out till 2024. We've got Harvey Barnes out till 2024. But we knew that a number of weeks ago. Isaac's not fit now until after the international break, so we're not going to see him until the end of November.
Oh, so he's out of Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank God for that.
He's up and down, man. He's up and down. He's always injured. That guy.
I knew you'd be happy about that.
I love him though. He's such a good player, man.
He's quality.
Yeah, he's a baller, big baller.
But yeah, so he had a groin injury that he picked up against West Ham, and then he didn't go to internationals. He come back and came off the bench against Palace, but then he's picked up after like 14 minutes. So he's out. And then we've got Sven Botman, who should hopefully be back for Arsenal, but he's not fit at the moment. So he's the one. He's probably the closest out of them all to be back fit. And that's our squad at the moment. We've got a number of key players that are missing. And obviously,
so do you go in January, Pete, and go right, boom, boom, boom?
100%. I said it to the boys last night. We did a watch along for the Dortmund game, and I said straight away after the show, I said we'll get at least 2 players. I thought we'd at least get one before all of this, before Tonali, before Barnes, Harvey Barnes, and all the rest of the other injuries. Now I think we get 2.
Who do you think is the realistic one? I saw you guys linked to the Athletic mentioned Scott McTominay yesterday, Paulinho, and also who was the other midfielder that they mentioned? There was one more.
Please don't put Scott McTominay in our conversation, please.
Paulinho would be serious for you lot, yeah, Pete. But bro, he just signed a new contract, so I don't know how that happens in January.
Paulinho doesn't happen in January. That's a summer signing. And you know what? He is exactly what we need as that number 6. We're missing a player like that. Not in every game, but in some games, he would be crucial for us. And his stats are there for all to see. He is performing on a high level. But I genuinely think that Calvin Phillips is the one. It all depends on Man City.
That's the other guy I saw. That's the other guy that I saw. Yeah.
I genuinely think that deal, is probably 80-90% wrapped up. It all depends on.
I think that'd be a good signing, Pete. I really do. I like that.
He's going to need time to get up to speed because, as a lot of players, and Anthony Gordon, who's been amazing for us this season, it will testify. You need to get up to Eddie Howe fitness. If you're going to play for Newcastle United, you've got to have an elite level of fitness, and he's not there yet. So it's going to take him a bit of time. But I think, March, April, May time, you'll probably see him play some really good football under Eddie Howe if we get him in early and get him fit. But I think it'd be a good, nice addition to see us out for the season, and then we get Tonali back at the beginning of the next season, which is not the worst thing in the world. But I do think we'll go out and probably get another winger, potentially another centre-back. He'll prioritise either one of the two. He'll either go out and get another centre-back or get a winger, a more attacking player, to add to what we've got. But I do think we'll go out and we'll spend a little bit.
You know who would suit you, Pete? Think about it now. And you can have it for cheap. Jeffrey Schlupp.
Nah.
He's won the Premier League before. He's won the Premier League.
I thought you were going to say Ayew. So
no.
Yeah.
Hey, Pete, I reckon.
Really thought you were being serious for a minute, then.
No. Hey, Pete, I was thinking of another one from Arsenal, bruv. Reece Nelson.
Nah. I think honestly, we're probably beyond Reece Nelson. He was linked with it in the summer. I think we're, in all due respect, I think we're beyond him. Which it sounds harsh to say, but I genuinely think, and I don't know what you think about this, Potts, I genuinely think he's ruining his career. That guy's got so much potential. He went to Germany and was doing bits out there, and then he's come back to Arsenal and just done nothing. And it reminds me of so many players.
He's been sold a dream, man.
Yeah, but surely he would know now.
What was stupid for me though was we got him to sign 100k a week, and he's got no trust to use him if Saka gets injured. What's the point of having him? Like, if I was you, Pete, if there was any Arsenal player you should try and go all out for, I'd go Smith Rowe, bruv, over Nelson, because Smith Rowe is more versatile. I think he'd be great for you.
Have you guys not been linked to Neto? No Neto links at all.
Arsenal have. No,
Newcastle.
Oh, Newcastle.
That's the link that I want. That's the link that I want.
That's the one I want, man. Yeah.
Neto on the right hand side is an alternative to Miggy Almiron and probably ends up being first choice.
Yeah, he gets ahead of Miggy. Definitely.
He's better than Almiron, man.
He's a guy that I would want in this team. And you know what?
Yeah.
I genuinely look at Neto playing at Wolves this season. I'm doing a Wolves preview in a second, so I need to shoot. But I genuinely think that he's playing for a move right now. The reason why he's playing at the level he is that he wants out. He wants the next move, and I would love him to sign. Someone just put in the chat another player that me and Chris from Loaded talked about, Morgan Gibbs-White. I rate that guy. I think he is quality. I think Eddie Howe would get him playing outstanding football for Newcastle, and Eddie Howe loves English players to work with.
He would be so good for you, man.
That I would love to pick up. I really would.
When was linked to Brendan Johnson, the guy that I wanted us to be linked to was Gibbs-White, because obviously we were looking at for a 10 and someone that can play on the wing. And Morgan Gibbs-White is someone I spoke about. He works hard off the ball, very skillful. He creates chances.
Yeah,
He's a very good player, man. Very good player.
100%.
Yeah, 100. Pete, gotta go, mate. Pleasure.
Yeah.
Make sure you stay here, and then you'll be redirected to Pete's stream anyway. So make sure you do that, people.
If you need any players, shout me, Pete. I got you, man. There's a few.
You know what? Wait till Elise's fit, and then we'll take him.
Nah.
We'll
You
do
can
that.
stop there. You can stop there. We'll decide the players, not you lot.
Yeah,
Boys,
Pete, big
take
up,
care.
man. Take it
You
easy,
too.
bro.
Take care.
Always a
Love,
pleasure, man.
love.
D, let's talk about your injuries, bro. How many of them are coming back? Eze, Elise, Franca, is it? Or Franca? I don't know his name.
Franca, he's actually back. He came on against Newcastle.
Okay.
And
How's it been, by the way? We were trying to buy him in the summer. Is that the Brazilian guy?
Yeah. Newcastle wanted him as well. A few Premier clubs wanted him. He came on against Newcastle. It was solid. It was very good for a player that hasn't had a minute of Premier League football. He's been out injured since he joined us. He was very good. I think he played for the under-21s against Monaco, I believe, about 2 days ago. He scored a goal. He only lasted 45 minutes. So it's a question of just getting his fitness back up. But yeah, man, it's exciting. France is coming back. Eze and Elise won't be back tomorrow, Friday night football against Spurs. But I mean, I'll prefer them not to be back against Spurs. I'd like them to have that extra rest, because let's be honest, against Spurs, the expectations ain't really high, even if they are playing and they have missed a bit of football now. So yeah, I mean, we're slowly getting there. Hopefully, after the Spurs game, we might see Elise back, which will be a positive. We might see Eze back, Decore and Lerma. Well, especially Lerma, who was a bit rusty because he's been out for a few weeks. Hopefully, he builds up, a few minutes against Spurs as well, and then that rustiness just rubs off and he's back to normal form. Yeah, slowly getting there, Pot. Slowly getting there. We've got games coming up after the Spurs game against, I believe, Everton. We've got Burnley, Everton, Luton, West Ham, Bournemouth. So we've got, a few games. When we look at it, we can pick up points with those players back. So, yeah, just get through Spurs.
Fixtures,
Another week gone by with Eze and Elise out on the sidelines, and then hopefully they'll be back for the Burnley game.
Do you fancy anything tomorrow night, bro? I know you got Spurs. I'd love to see you beat Spurs, because obviously I can't stand them and their fans are doing my face in, saying that they're going to win the title. But just talk to me, man. What can you get tomorrow night? Spurs
have been fantastic so far this season, and not just about. I know people talk about the title race and all of that. I think it'll be a miracle if they do that. If they do end up being in the title race come April, because you're basically expecting them to not have injuries, because I don't think they've got the squad yet, and maybe last till January. But look, they got the momentum. They're still unbeaten so far this season. They look exciting to play. The type of football change as well. But for Palace, I'm expecting a reaction from that Newcastle game as well, because that wasn't the Palace that I know about. Maybe in attack, yes, we was always going to struggle against Newcastle due to the players that we have out on the pitch, and we barely had any zero creative outlet. But defensively, that wasn't Palace. That wasn't the Palace that I've known in terms of going into the game. We were joint most with Arsenal in terms of clean sheets. So if we're solid defensively and we frustrate them as long as we can, basically try going into halftime with 0-0. We've done it against Arsenal, I think, Potts, and then you lot won by a penalty. But we try to frustrate you as long as we can. At Selhurst Park on Friday night, I think you're asking for an awful lot, but I'm expecting a reaction. The question is, how will we react? I don't know what type of reaction it will be, but defensively, we should be better. We will be.
I hope you do. But the thing is, people, when I say I hope you beat Spurs, go, oh, because Dan's worried. I'm not actually worried about Tottenham. It's the fact that they're just fans doing my face in, saying that in a title race when it got to February last year of Arsenal, and I was told that by them same fans that Arsenal aren't in a title race. But 8 games in, Tottenham are in one. It's just mad to me, man. I mean, Don, we were on with Deji the other day, weren't we, on the terrace talking about. I was thinking, hang on a minute, man. Like, big up to Deji, by the way. But I'm like, so you beat Fulham, and now we have to accept that you're in a title race. What is going on here? It doesn't make any sense to me, man. But
most Spurs fans ain't saying that they're in the title race though. Like they've downplayed it, and I get it because I don't think Spurs.
Yeah, a lot of fans have, but a lot of fans have not. Trust me.
It's split. It's kind of split right now. You know, there's more than you expect. Yeah. It's very split right now.
Maybe it's just the hype, the hype that they're on right now. But if you're thinking realistically, have they got a squad for a title race? I don't think so. But then again, if they survive till January and they're in abouts, then January, if they do bring in reinforcements, then I guess it'll be a bit more serious. But that's the thing; they're doing well as it is now, but there's still quite a few games up until January, and then
man. I mean,
you go from there.
Listen, King Hoddle, big up King Hoddle. He's always in the chat, man. Big up, and he says, Dan, you need to be worried that we're actually better than you think we are. Listen, I think you're very good 11. I just think that with a couple of injuries, I think you could be in trouble. But if you don't get any injuries for the whole season and you play 1 game a week like you do, you might have a chance. And I think you'll get Champions League football. But I just think for a title against City, I don't see it, man. I just don't see it. But that's just me. Lastly, D, before I come to Dave, I've got this here. Where was it? From Arteta Muse. When can we expect the next D Lawless face-off?
What day was this? I want to catch up on his stream. When was this?
It's literally on yesterday's videos, man. If you go to it, man, you'll see it.
I'll see it, yeah.
All right. Just go on the last video, basically. Yeah.
Well, we're going to be meeting in person in about a month's time. Well, a bit longer than a month, I guess. But there needs to be no face-off. I don't understand the need for a face-off. He's just deluded. Like, there's nothing else for me to say. Because he was going on about being unbeaten in the Europa Conference League and going invincible. Well, you ain't invincible in Europa League, are you? You just lost to Olympiacos 2-1. He thinks that they're better than they are. The thing is, I don't think he's real. I've met him once, but I don't think he's real. I think he's an experiment. I'm convinced he's not real. Because he can't be. He can't be real. He can't. There's some of the stuff that he says.
I've never met him, by the way, but he's very shameless. I watch a lot of the streams, and he's shameless on the
He's very He's very shameless. It doesn't make any sense. You would think he's sporting City. He sports West Ham. They are a solid side, but they're not on the levels that he talks about. So look, me and Lawless face off. I guess it depends when we're next on the stream together, but. Yeah, look, I've said my bit about it. He already knows how.
Yeah, finish above him now, though, bro, because you got to wear a shirt and eat a chili otherwise, bro.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you get a point against Spurs, but yeah, I mean, I'm not as worried. I'm not as worried because
mate, if you get Eze and Elise back, you got a chance to finish above West Ham, 100%. You have.
West Ham. Well, they've had their strongest team so far this season. They've had Paqueta pretty much there every single game. I think Bowen's been playing. All their players have been playing. So we've seen West Ham what we can expect from them this season, and they are not a bad side. They are a good side, but I don't think they are top seven level worthy. I don't think so. I mean, there's probably about 10th to 13th or maybe 10th to 14th in between there. So hopefully we do finish above them. But I just wanted to get knocked out at Europa League, and then he's gonna get cooked. He's going to get
Give me a quick prediction, man, for tomorrow. Give me a quick prediction for tomorrow night. Palace Spurs, man.
Probably like 2-0 Spurs. But as I said, it's hard to say right now because even against United, I said that we would have a reaction after the Carabao Cup game when we got smoked 3-0. And we did have a reaction and we managed to beat them. And I think it's going to be similar. I'm not saying we're going to beat Spurs, but we're going to have a reaction. It's not going to be as easy as the 4-0 Newcastle done. So you never know. I'm saying Spurs should win and will win, but it wouldn't be a massive shock to me if somehow we nick a point, despite being awful in attack. Because of
I think you can get something at Sellers, man. Surely,
yeah. We have to stop Maddison's son, and of course there's other players as well. But if we try
Maddison, what a player! I wanted him so badly at Arsenal, and everyone said no. But what a player he is. Listen, before I come to Dave, some sad news, man. Dave Asprey rung me earlier. He couldn't make tonight. You all know him, fan favorite of the channel, regular on here. His father passed away this morning, so he wasn't able to come on the show, which is really, really sad news, man. So we all send all of our love to Dave and his family. His dad was always watching the channel, always watched him and us together and loved it as well. So big up to him. And Dave promised us that he'll be back next week, and he's not ducking Dave because Luton picked up a point. He's got genuine reasons. So yeah, man, we wish him all well, and hopefully we'll see Dave back on the channel very, very soon. Dave, Luton, talk to me about your running. What's it looking like, and what's your predictions for this weekend, bro?
Well, this weekend I'm not expecting much at all. I'm going to have a good day out in Villa. And I'm just not expecting. They're on form, aren't they? They're just so good.
Yeah,
at the
they're
moment.
firing. They've won 4-1 tonight as well.
Yeah, 4-1 tonight. They're knocking goals in for fun at home. So, but good runs have to come to an end at some point. So I'm hoping we have a small miracle and we can keep them, match them for some of the time. Like possession-wise, again, we're not going to get a lot of possession. At Forest, we had quite a bit than we normally do. But when we came to Chelsea or we go somewhere bigger, I think, at some points we'll have like 20% possession, but it's what you do with that 20% that counts. And I'm hoping that we just take a bit of luck. So I'm going to go with my heart again. My heart goes, right, come on, we can do something here. We can upset them, but you've got to look at their team. Their team's on fire. The players are on fire. Their goals are going in. Watkins is scoring for fun. And we're finding it hard to put it between the sticks ourselves. So I'm going to say we possibly won't win, but I'm hopeful that we might nick something. As long as we don't embarrass ourselves. Every game we go to about the bigger clubs, if we embarrass ourselves and come away with a Newcastle, Sheffield United score, I'll be gutted. But I'm hopeful that we can give them a game and just see if we get any lucky breaks. So, but the next 5 for us: Villa, Liverpool, Man United, Palace, Brentford, and I reckon if we can squeeze 7 points out of that, I'll be really pleased.
Cool,
but, then it's really poor of me just to say, I think we can beat Palace and Brentford, because I don't, it's on the day, isn't it? But everyone hopefully can beat Man United at their place, so I'll take 3 points up there, please.
Hey, Villa, you know what? It's mad, isn't it? That you go into those running games and Man United are the one you're thinking, yeah, might nick something there.
Well, the thing is, there was a time when I'm considerably older than you guys, I'm assuming. But there was a time where you went to Old Trafford and you go there thinking, well, we have not got a chance. They're a good team. There's no way we're getting anywhere. It's a bit like if we go to Manchester City now, we know there's no chance really of us winning unless we get a miracle. And Manchester United, Manchester United and Liverpool used to be like that all the time for me when I was sort of a bit younger. But I look at them two teams differently now because I think they're beatable. I don't think teams like Manchester City, for my level as team, are beatable. So they're the ones I worry about. Villa at the moment, we might pull off something, but it'd have to be a really miraculous result for us to get anything out of that.
Yeah, it's probably the worst time to play Villa as well, man.
Isn't it?
They're on fire, and they've got a nice run of fixtures, Villa as well. I've stuck Ollie Watkins in my fantasy team, and because I just feel like he's just on fire at the moment, man. So
he's been killing it for me, man.
Who? Sorry.
He's been killing it, Watkins.
Man. He's been absolutely class, and it's mad because.
What do you think about Arsenal then?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Matty was on earlier. He texted me yesterday and he said, look, you're linked with Ivan Toney. I think Chelsea are as well in January. Would you take him or Watkins? And I said Toney, and he was like, I'd take Watkins. Because obviously, he's both been at Brentford, haven't they? So he's like, I'd take Watkins. I think he does more. And I'm like, well, I'm seeing Ivan Toney do more as an all-rounder. But lately, Watkins has been killing it, man. I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? They're going to take that next jump to Chelsea, Arsenal. That is a jump we've seen with Real. But for me, I like Ollie Watkins and Toney. I think both of them would be really good signings for both Chelsea and Arsenal.
I think Toney gives you that versatility. Like
that's
I think Watkins, you got Jesus there. I think Toney is physically like stronger, and he offers something else that Jesus doesn't do. And I think that would suit you more than having Watkins. Fantastic. You don't lose out on Watkins either, but I'd probably still go with Toney. Like we're talking about Watkins having a good run of form and he's been fantastic so far. But yeah, I think Toney is that different factor that Arsenal could put out on the pitch depending on how the game is going.
100, man. Yeah, I'd take Toney. I'm always wanted Toney, and I think he's class. But Watkins is killing it right now and deserves his flowers. So fair play, man. Listen, we're gonna wrap it up there. It's been great. I've loved it. Dave, thank you for coming on, my friend. Make sure you go and follow Dave on Twitter. Make sure you go and follow Win the Town podcast and all things Luton. D, big up, bro. Thank you so much for coming on. And of course, for jumping on the other night, man, because that was just a lit show and a lit panel. So I much appreciate that. Make sure you go check that one out, people. At D Palace and Back of the Nest podcast. Make sure you go and do that. And Don, man, how can people follow you, bro? Love the debut on the channel, man. Thanks so much.
Love for having me on, man, and big up the chat. You can find me on Twitter for now, at Greasy Don. My YouTube is under construction as well, so when that lands, I'll definitely let Dan know. But yeah, you'll see me. You see my face on here. You'll see my face on here a few times. I enjoyed that, man.
Nice one, bro. Thanks so much for coming on. I know you had a long one previously as well, so I appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much. Bro. Make sure you do us a favor in the chat. Make sure you go follow these guys, man. First of all, come on. They're all got their own content they're putting out. They're working very, very hard. They've come on to support the channel and to provide you with free content as well. So make sure you like this stream and subscribe. Our next target is 13K. So make sure you can get us up there and join the community, people. If you do want to join as a member, you can do as well. Make sure you check out Bread and Honey Bets as well this weekend. We've got quite a lot of MMA and football that they're going to be doing as well. If you do like a bet, that link is in the description. We'll see you next time, people. Take care and up the Arsenal. Laters.